Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure can. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
That's good. Good meeting. Thank you very much.
Just, we should warn Pat that we'll need to meet him in order for votes to be counted.
Cool. So, we have to do that? Okay. Did you catch that, Pat? That we'll need you to turn on your webcam
For voting.
for voting. Otherwise, I guess you can leave it off, but.
I wanted to warn you in case you had to get dressed. Oh, there you are.
Perfect.
All right, Alex, it's 4 o'clock, so we're good?
We're good.
YouTube? Maggie, YouTube's on? Okay. All right, I'm gonna call the July 21st, 2026 regular meeting of Cook County Grand Marais Joint Economic Development Authority order at 4 p.m. Commissioners present include Mills, Shackleton, Anderson, and Eliason is remote, and Clissold is also present. Absent today are Bibi Boutichet and Commissioner Benson. The agenda was provided to commissioners in advance of the meeting. I'll request any additional changes or any other motions to the July 21st, 2026 meeting.
I will move to accept the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. And we'll do a vote by roll call as we'll do for the balance of the meeting, given the fact that we've got remote participation.
I'm not sure, Patrick. Can you hear all right, Pat?
In general, but I think your mic is.
Yeah, you're
Oh, my
muted.
mic's off. Can you hear okay? Pat?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Mills,
Aye.
Shackleton,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Eliason,
Aye.
and Clissold is an aye. Public comments. Any members of the public that wish to speak to items not on today's agenda, please state your name for the public record. Anybody? Okay, seeing none. Let's move on to the minutes. This is the minutes of the June 16th, 2026 meeting. You'll find these on pages 1 through 4 of the packet. Any changes or discussion points regarding the June 16th, 2026 regular meeting minutes? No? Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Thank you. Is there a second?
Support.
Thank you. Do a roll call. Mills.
Aye.
Shackleton.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Eliason.
Aye.
And Clissold is an aye. Okay, let's move on to a review of the financials. You'll see them picked up on page 5 of the packet, actually all the way through page 17, inclusive of both the 2025 and 2026 Business Development Fund grants reports. I'll turn it over to Treasurer Shackleton to provide any commentary or updates.
Sure, thank you. The EDA financials for the year-to-date through June is looking good. It's appropriate for budget. Expenses seem to be in line. One thing of note is the cash position. We did receive the first levy payment from the county, so our bank account is sitting at $418,000 instead of the $158 it shows. So. And then the Superior National Golf Course, so far year to date, it's slightly up as far as golf revenues is concerned, about 4%. Food beverage up a little bit prior years, so it's had a good start. The cash position is sitting at about $315,000 as of today. So it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Would you say that's on track with your projections. at
Right,
this point.
so it's slightly up above last year as far as the golf course is concerned, so it's doing well. And the cash is healthy enough, and if we close in August as expected, we'll be in a good financial position.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from Mark? Our EDA commissioners accept and forward to audit the balance sheet as of June the 30th, 2026, both the EDA and Superior National. Is there a motion to approve the June 2026 payments?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
Thank you. Do a roll call. Mills.
Aye.
Shackelton.
I,
Anderson.
Aye.
Eliason.
Aye.
Thank you. And Clissold is also an aye. All right, that takes us to new business, and we've got special guests Molly Dickin and Mike Larson for a brief overview of the proposed connection to Water District in support of our sale of Superior National.
Thank you. Do you want us to come to a
So
microphone, or are we
You can
good?
either take my spot and I'll go over here, and we'll pull over another chair here, we'll do it this way. You both come right up here if you want to take my spot.
I'll let Molly take the lead.
Mike, I'm going to drag you into this.
Yeah, please. And the
need
mic's
to.
on, so.
Hi, EDA directors. Thanks for having us. So we came here at your director's request in order to, I suppose, kind of explain the background and the proposal that we believe might be the most cost efficient for connecting golf course to the Water District's pipeline from Lake Superior for purposes of irrigation. I think Mike Larson on your behalf came to the Water District last fall, or maybe even late summer, to start this process. But we really got into the work of it in March, and for the last 4 months or so, we've been working with Bar Engineering, Steve Marshik, going through different options. So our goal and I should say I'm a director on the board of the Lake Superior Poplar River Water District along with Charles Skinner. The Water District, when it was created, one of the initial purposes or contemplated purposes for the Water District was to be an irrigation source for the golf course. And
What year was that?
2013. And the original kind of infrastructure, so it's a 24-inch pipeline that goes from a pump house down at Lake Superior, underground through the golf course, and then up to the ski hill to a snowmaking pond that we have at the base of Raptor, of the Raptor lift. And in order to accommodate the irrigation purpose, there was a valve and a connection built underground, and which still exists at the bottom of a manhole, in the middle of the golf course, green 13. However, as we understand it, and I wasn't around back then with the Water District, but kind of that design was discovered it was going to require more investment than really made sense for the EDA to go into, given that they had a solution. The original irrigation and pump house built there at Lake Superior for the golf course was still operating according to the needs of the golf course. So one of those options that we did look into and discussed was attempting to kind of complete that original connection. But as we understood it, that was going to create a lot of, well, it would be expensive too. It would also tear up the golf course, essentially. I'm no engineer, Mike and I aren't engineers, but we've probably learned a lot in the last few months about water pressure. And if you imagine that the pipeline coming from Lake Superior is 24 inches, the irrigation pipeline that goes through the golf course and feeds all of the sprinklers and valves there is, do you know the gauge of that irrigation pipeline?
Well, it's not under frost line, so it's just below the surface, and most of it's 2 inch and 3 inch
2 inch.
PVC.
So you would need a series of valves to bring the pressure down so you don't explode the irrigation system at the golf course. And so that option was set aside as not practical or not affordable. There are other options we looked at. The original and the option that seemed the simplest was to tap into the valve at at one of the fire hydrants that the pipeline already feeds. But when we looked into that a little bit further, it seemed as if it would make firefighting more difficult, the use of that fire hydrant more difficult, and it may also impede a future use of the water district, which is to feed a drinking water treatment plant. That treatment plant is partially complete and it's up at Caribou Highlands. So if you're taking water out downhill without a lot of other design functions, you're gonna impede water from climbing the hill up to the water district. You need to maintain a certain amount of pressure. So the option that we finally came up with, and Steve Marshett from BAR was really good about coming back to us, answering our questions, kind of engineering according to what we believed the resources were, which are limited, obviously, is a connection down at the pump house. Has this group seen the email option 3A? Yep, okay.
Yeah, there's a few of us here on the golf course committee.
Okay, that's
Commissioner
right.
Anderson, Shackleton, and myself, so we're well across that deal.
That's right.
Not
So-
me, though.
What's that?
Not me, though.
I mean, I can display it if you'd like. My ability to explain it or answer your questions, all of your questions, might be impeded because I'm not an engineer myself.
I can pull it up on
Oh yeah.
this screen here, I think. So if you want to keep talking.
Oh, yeah, that, I didn't see any of that.
So down at the shore of Lake Superior, you take the driveway that was shared with Lutzen Resort, and at the Y you take a right and you go all the way down to the shore. There are two pump houses. There's a big pump house, which is where the 24-inch pipeline goes through, and then there's a little pump house that is closer to the water. We call it a dog house, and that is the golf course's irrigation. The dog house.
The doghouse.
Looks like a doghouse.
It looks kind of like Snoopy's dog house, right? So it has its own infrastructure in it. Essentially, what this option would do is it would connect the pipeline from the big pump house down to the little pump house and connect to the irrigation system there. So you'd be feeding the irrigation system from down at the shore, and that's the extent of, the connection. It's not gonna use the water that flows through the 24-inch pipeline uphill at all. So it would tie into the existing snowmaking piping inside the building. It would replace one elbow with a T.
Yeah,
Let
just
me
a
get
second
to it
here.
here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so we'll have to go through the pictures as they are, but this is the tie-in inside of the pump house proposal.
That's right. Yep, so a new valve, a new connection, and then it would penetrate through the wall of the pump house to the exterior, and you could go to the next slide. So this is an overhead view. It's gonna travel around the outside wall of the pump house and then down into the small pump house, which is represented by a square there, into the much smaller space.
Is north up?
Actually, north is gonna be going uphill.
That way.
This way.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, so the small square that the pipe connects to is on the shore, yep, right there.
Here's a picture of what you're actually looking at.
Yeah.
And what is that,
I'm here, but the mayor.
That's
Sorry,
all
I
right.
thought it was 4:30 and then I guess.
It is now, huh? What is the size of the penetration? That wall penetration? Is that,
It's a couple inches.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's maybe 3 inches.
so all the reduction was
Diameter.
happening
Yep,
in the.
that's right.
Okay.
And then this is inside the small pump house, the new connection that would be needed.
That's right, so the HDPE piping is gonna come into the small pump house. The project is gonna replace the existing irrigation piping in the pump house with a flow meter that measures total volume. That's important, the water district is a Minnesota Rural Water User District, and under that statute, the water users are required to share the costs of the water district in proportion to their water usage. So tracking the water usage is very important. So that's gonna happen in this smaller building. And then there will be a flow control valve and valve house up at the irrigation pond. So from here,
This is where
this
This
is
we're talking
up
about?
at the golf course.
yeah.
So
This is the holding pond at the golf course.
that's right. That's right. So this water feeds a holding pond at the golf course, and then from there feeds the irrigation system. We tried to kind of make a balance here between so having manned the big pump house now for 13 years with Lutz and Mountain staff, we have an understanding of how it really takes employees watching pressure, going down to that pump house to switch valves as necessary, maintaining pumps, etc. And so we were interested in finding a solution that had some automation for the golf course to reduce the risk of something going wrong. And so that's on one side of the balance, and on the other side of the balance is cost savings, So this solution has some automation, but not all the automation that you could build into the design. So the flow control valve and valve house at the irrigation pond, that's gonna slowly shut the valve as the irrigation pond water elevation rises so that there's not gonna be an overflow.
This level sensor here.
Yep. The level sensor is an option. So in this option 3A that BART Engineering came up with, they added the level sensor gauge. That's gonna be a higher cost, and I'll share that with you. But if you used the level sensor gauge in the irrigation pump house sump, that could send the pond elevation data back to the snowmaking pump house via radio and could automatically shut off or fill as needed. So this is a rough estimate. These drawings, I think if Steve Marshik from BAR was here, he would call these conceptual drawings. These are not complete engineered drawings, and so any estimate that he provides is gonna come with an asterisk next to it, but the rough estimate that he was able to give is if you include the level sensor gauge, about $250,000 with a range of $175 to $374. So that's a 30% less or 50% more. And without the level sensor gauge, the estimated cost is reduced to $190,000 with a range of $133,000 to $285,000. He says, I've not completed an estimate for using the existing irrigation tie-in as I don't have enough information on what that system would look like. Existing irrigation tie-in.
The old one up at 13.
Well, 13.
Okay, that's right.
So am I to understand that the difference of around 100,000 between the two is benefiting the costs that will be incurred going forward to the ski area and the golf course?
It increases the automation of the system is my best way of explaining it, so
Right.
that the,
Reduces the staff they have to hire.
yeah, and I mean, I see it as a risk if you know, you're putting human error into it, or, you know, if you lose staff that is educated and skilled in an area and you have to add staff and train, there could be a gap there that could amount to some loss of.
And this is just for the golf course, not the ski hill.
Precisely.
This connection is, yes.
And
Yes.
Molly, the water district has approved 3A with or without the optional flow meter, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had a meeting with the buyers council last week. So they are across, I think at a high level, what 3A is, and our position to not include the flow meter. I think Frank, representing SBO.
They'll likely do that, is my guess.
That'll be their option, all right.
Okay. Mike,
I'm
did you
sorry, I
want
didn't follow all that.
So the EDA's position, what we're going to bid on is
Without.
without.
Yes.
It will be an engineer's estimate, and there'll be add alternatives as a bid, so we'll be able to find that number. Cause when it goes out to bid, they'll have that as an option to bid, not uncommon, to have these adults and deals, so. So when it comes back, and then Frank and company, the buyer, if you will, they'll know what that additional cost would be if they elect to do it.
Okay.
Follow me? on that?
So there are conversations with the buyer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
That-
yeah, they're very close, they're very close to this.
Okay.
Did you want to add anything or correct anything from my description there?
You did an excellent job, Molly.
For a non-engineer.
See, I have a question or comment, please. I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. This was in response to or a solution to the irrigation issues that were discovered during the pre-sale? Is that what this is
That's
intended
right,
to do?
yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, especially last summer, the irrigation was running at about 40% of what it needed to. And the greens and fairways suffered.
We almost lost the golf course last year, yeah, it was that close.
I'll let Mike add some further color. The current irrigation system, although working better than last year in terms of its flow, its minute by minute gallon flow, still has issues at the uptake at Lake Superior with cavitation, and the inlet is not strictly in the lake as it's supposed to be. Okay, half of that right, Mike?
You got all of it right. I mean, the simple way to look at it is, you got a big pipe, 24-inch pipe going out in Lake Superior that was highly engineered, that's down and cemented down, and you had big barges out there laying that pipe, you know, and back in 2012 and 13, to make sure it doesn't get beat up by Lake Superior, which is difficult because she's a pretty tough lady, as we all know. Then you got the golf course, which had a stub kind of sitting in there, and it's worked for years. Over the course of several storms that we've had, the big one in 2022, which moved a lot of beach gravel and rock and everything else, that pipe became covered. And our drop box, which was once just a couple feet, is now literally 8 feet. So we're talking tons and tons of material, try to get in there and clean it out. Going into this system is really, as I think the engineer would say, this is a great solution for everybody. It's not that complicated because you're working within that building and it's expensive, but it's just not that complicated. So it's going to give us a reliable source of water that the golf course has been struggling with over the last, really since 2022. That's 4 years.
But it fixed itself, right? Just so everyone has the history. So it was a problem last year, 40%, and now this year, it's back to 80%.
No, yeah, I mean, it goes all over the place. We're running probably, I provided Lucas a summary, I think last week about where we're running. Those are good questions. The other thing is, talk about staff, Aaron and Dane, our staff, they're down there daily. It's just not good practice to take a golf course across Highway 61, been doing it for 35 years, to watch that pump and the temperature of the pump and the cavitation of the pump and dialing it down. So, not a lot of it, all of it will be eliminated when we tie in. So, and Commissioner Elias, I mean, you asked a good question about, did this come up, in pre-sale, much like selling anything, a house, there's the inspections, and this came up as a problem. Along with some other things that were notable with the inspection of anything. So if the EDA was not selling the golf course, the EDA would likely be doing this anyway to protect its asset in the future.
Any other questions?
So I guess I have, my question for you is this adequate is there anything else the water district can do, any information we can share, any more work on this potential solution in order to assist with the sale? Do you have what you need to meet that?
As of today, I'd say we do. We've
Okay.
been terrific to work with and been very thorough. Our next step includes a bidding process. And so detailed engineering drawings will be, plans will be crafted, and the bidding process will start. We'll need to get a high-level timeline on bidding start, bidding stop, project start, project stop, because we, as well as the buyer, of course, will be interested in that, because this will all occur post-closing, or much of it will occur post-closing.
Okay. The construction will occur post-closing with the bid award.
It'll be either in process or just complete
Okay.
at closing.
Yeah, one reason I ask these questions is because the water district will need to enter into a water user agreement with the future golf course owner, and I have a draft of that. We've worked hard to come up with it, and I don't know if I should be sending that to the EDA or to the potential.
Just send it to the EDA. We have a weekly standing meeting with buyer's council and our council, and that'll be a good, I think, conduit to share that with you, to have some discussions around it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thanks for making the time. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Molly. You did an excellent job.
Thanks for your support, Mike. Is that right? Yeah.
All right, that takes us then to item 6B. And this is resolution 2026-24, which rescinds resolution 2026-21, and approves a development agreement with East Bay Holding Company LLC for Sisu and Olu infrastructure improvement project. So you might recall that just as recently as June, we approved resolution 2021-21. which authorized an agreement with Dream Superior LLC for the administration of that $125,000 IRRR Public Works grant that was awarded to the EDA for infrastructure improvements associated with CSU and Lolu. So it was a pass-through. But following the board approval, the project owner, Katie Usum, requested the development agreement be changed to East Bay Holding Company. So this is a name change, which is the entity that owns the underlying project property and will be the borrower for commercial financing supporting the project. So this aligns the development agreement with the ownership and financing entities. So contracts, invoices, reimbursements, and grant records are maintained under the same legal entity. So the terms and conditions of the development agreement remain otherwise unchanged. So I think that's pretty straightforward. So, motion to approve resolution 2026-24, rescinding resolution 2026-21, and approving a development agreement with East Bay Holding Company LLC for the CSU and Lolu Infrastructure Improvement Project.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Appreciate that. We'll do a roll call vote. Mills. Aye. Shackleton.
Aye.
Anderson.
Here, yep, hi.
I gotcha. Eliason.
Aye.
And City Councilor Gary. Aye. Thank you. All right. Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is resolution 2026-25, which authorizes the first amendment to the Business Development Fund grant agreement with Sydney's Frozen Custard LLC. I'll turn it over to Lucas Wakefield for some background information on this request.
Just wait a second. My hand's full, sorry.
He'll be back, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
He'll be back, right?
I don't think so. Isn't this the last thing? No, there's more.
There's
More to
always,
come. Okay.
I'm going to
Just for the record, Commissioner Anderson accused herself from this process. So that would be the reason we're waiting to discuss. Okay, so as some of you may be aware and some not aware, in 2025, the Grant Award Committee decided to give a business development grant from the EDA to Sydney's Frozen Custard. And the purpose of that was to help them rebuild after a fire, to get their business back going. There were a couple of hiccups relating to getting the grant initiated, and primarily amongst those was that some taxes were overdue. So the grant could not be initiated until those taxes were paid in full. And then finally, it took some time, we were able to execute the grant that would have otherwise have been executed in May of 2025 in August of 2025, August 11th to be specific. However, the grant award itself, which for every other awardee in the history of the program, they've gotten 1 calendar year from execution date until the termination date of the grant award. In this particular case, that was not updated. So that gave the grantee until the end of May originally to do, so less than a year, essentially. And there was some discussion. The awardee sent a letter to myself, and I passed it along to the committee, essentially stating that he felt that that was sort of an unfair determination, that he should essentially get a year just like everyone else to complete his grant award. And the committee reviewed that and has recommended to the EDA board that his award be extended until August, when it would have ended if it had been a full year, with the remainder of the terms to be the same. So it's not a bigger grant award, it doesn't change the match, but he would be able to continue incurring costs that are germane to the original spirit of the award up until August rather than the award having lapsed. So as it stands right now, if you choose to do nothing, the award has lapsed. So if this is not approved, he will not be able to submit any more expenses.
I think that was well recapped. I mean, it became pretty clear to the grant committee that we have to be fair in terms of how we execute these awards, and a year means a year. And in my direction, we did not execute the grant agreement until the 11th of August, when those other conditions were met, and that should start the clock. What that does mean for the grantee is that there are certain otherwise approved expenses that were incurred between May and August the 11th that fell under the plan of the grant application that are out of scope from a time standpoint. So that was never going to get paid. What it does mean is there may be, we'll see what phase 2 of this conversation looks like at a subsequent meeting, what items falling under the spirit of the grant award, but not in the original plan, because the plan has shifted from a time standpoint, we'll be in a position to revisit. We don't have that yet, so this is strictly resetting the clock from August the 11th to August the 11th, and then we'll see what, if any, items fall within that time.
Alright, I will make a motion to approve resolution 2026-25, which is authorizing the amendment to the Business Development Fund grant agreement with City of Southern Custer LLC.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second?
Terrific. And we'll do a roll call. Eliason.
Aye.
Gary.
Aye.
Shackleton.
Aye.
Mills.
Aye.
And Clissold is also an aye. Okay, carries. Yeah, congrats too.
She gone?
She's stepped outside, 2 doors away.
She's gone.
She wanted it, okay.
Doubly safe.
She's got a life jacket,
Oh,
she's okay.
no,
Triply safe.
Yeah, she's so safe.
When she left her snack, I thought she was.
Yeah, but
Yes, it's coming back.
thanks for the tamales, take them away.
Okay, next on the agenda is SBDC. Included in the packet, I believe it's on page 54, is the report from Northlands Foundation. And I'm also delighted to see we've got Michelle here.
Hi.
Michelle.
We'll be here every month unless something catastrophic happens. Yes, thank you, happy to be here. Last month I met with 2 new clients, and in the beginning, start to July, I had another new client, but it's sort of quieted down now. I have found that a lot of the clients that I meet with just need some checks and balances while they're starting a new business. And just like someone like me who's resourceful and can be their conduit to different programs, grant opportunities, I just like talk through, because as I remember 10 years ago starting Skyport.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it, feels like 15, but
Wow, it's so established
yeah, oh, thank you.
and great.
Yeah, thank you, I'm very proud, it's going really good now. Got a good team of people and that makes all the difference for sure. But yeah, you just like, you know what you want to do, you just need someone there to help and assist and encourage. And there's a lot of great resources and downloadable tools on the Northland SBDC website, and I've met, actually it's been kind of fun, like it has overlapped a little bit in some regard with some clients that I have met where I was able to connect them personally, professionally to other resources, like a lady who got into vacation cleaning, and there was a gentleman who came to me and wanted me to manage his vacation rental, and I'm not there yet to expand my operation outside of Fireweed Lane, but connected them. And I have a good friend in the community who's been doing vacation rental cleaning for 20 years, and this woman had specific questions to ask me about logistics and insurance, and I said, well, my business and how I do things is different because of my classifications, you know, with the state. But anyway, I find that I'm able, I think, to be quite helpful and resourceful for these people. And I like it. I've been getting good feedback. Got some new music in my venue because of another lady I met, and it feels good. So there's a lot of connecting going on. Kind of quiet now. I had a gentleman in the community reach out who owns a cabin here, and he asked if there was something that he and his church members could do to help support businesses in Cook County with, the fire scare and smoke concerns, etc. Asked if I had, any ideas, and I thought, well, as I go to these leadership meetings and continue to visit with Linda Jurek and others in the community, maybe there are some, I can point them in the right direction. So I am finding a lot that, like, my phone rings, I get text messages, people are asking me for advice, guidance, who can I connect them with, so I like it, because I'm a talker, as you can see, so. Yeah. Am I, like, giving you what you need to know, or am I missing anything?
I would be curious to know, maybe there's a pattern, or perhaps it's entirely random, but is it financial planning, from a business standpoint that they need, or marketing online, or
Good
any
question.
patterns that you see?
Definitely patterns of new businesses, always looking for capital, always looking for free money, and then of course help with marketing. So I love that I can connect them with Molly Solberg as a subject matter expert with marketing. She's amazing at what she does, so often I connect her there. I did have what I felt like was a conflict of interest earlier on in the season where a woman locally needed to really get to the nitty-gritty as she was concerned about the success and viability of her business, and I just did not feel comfortable helping her make a decision if she was going to stay in business or not. So there was another gentleman that I met through the SBDC out of Duluth that I connected her with. But yeah, it's mainly marketing and capital. Yeah, and then just how to start a business, and am I doing this correctly, and very, for me, easy questions to help them with that.
Is Molly from marketing at SBDC, right at Northland? Okay.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank
Happy
you.
to have you, Michelle. This is
Thank
great.
you. Me too. Very grateful for this.
Okay, next on the agenda, actually, a little out of order here, but it's Resolution 2026. This approves professional services agreement with Bar Engineering in the amount not to exceed $45,000 to complete design and engineering work for the irrigation system connection required at Superior National. So this proposal does include bidding facilitation and construction management support. You'll find the details on pages 46 through 53. In fact, page 49, for me at least, is the most illustrative in terms of what we're getting for this. Some of this work, actually, we saw the output of this afternoon from Molly's presentation. And I would ask, Lucas can confirm that the bidding will cover both the septic bidding as well as the irrigation bidding. Are you able to get a hold of Bar on the septic bidding?
So I've got verbal confirmation that the way that the scope is written, although it does not delineate that it's a bid process for both projects, that he's willing to do that, provided that the documentation that comes over from terra firma is sufficient to guide the bid. Does that make sense?
It does. Okay. So this will take us through the bid, and we'll be working closely with the bid winner on executing the actual construction itself, in addition to all the design work, both done and yet to be done. Mark, I know you got this a couple of days ago. Did you have any questions on this?
No, that was my question, was regarding to the septic system bid, so thank you.
Where does this dollar amount fit in with what we're expecting for the whole? I thought last we had talked. We're like, woohoo, the irrigation's working. Maybe we don't have to do that, but then it seems like, oh no, it's not stable or sustainable. not dependable, and therefore doesn't qualify for a sale.
Correct.
And so then, okay, but then how does this fit into what we were expecting?
Sure, what we were expecting, and I'll just point back to the, I think it was in the January, February timeframe, we prepared pro forma on what the sale would look like at closing. We anticipated in escrow for both septic and irrigation, $500,000. This would take us, well, this figure plus the estimates for both irrigation and septic would take, at the escrow level, not at actual cost, but at the 150%, closer to $600,000. Offset significantly by the fact that we're now operating all summer, and we'll have at least a couple $100,000 of revenue that wasn't anticipated in that pro forma. Number one. Number two, the inventories won't be at the $60,000 estimated in the pro forma. They're now north of $100,000. So there's been a few things move, a couple in our favor, and irrigation and septic not. But I think Treasurer Shackleton is comfortable that we'll be able to successfully get to closing.
I agree, yeah. We're looking at about an increase of $200,000 plus cash on hand of the golf course at the time of closing. That should cover any overages that we are incurring right at the moment. So we're about $60,000 higher than anticipated as far as closing costs. But we're gonna get an inventory credit and another $200,000 in the bank, so about another $250,000, so to offset that, so as of today.
Okay, so helpful, thank you.
Questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve?
I just wanted to also, I feel the need to kind of express some of the conversation we were having at the county board regarding the water district. I just caution the EDA to join the water district. It sounds like it's going to be the new buyer that will be joining. And it sounds uncertain of the standing of the water district, and there's different types of water districts and whether they can function or not based on their composition. And so the jury's not out, the council is out, I guess, still on looking into that. But these issues were raised by Grand Portage for concern with water usage and violating treaty rights. So I just want to make everyone aware that these conversations are happening, and it seems like it's still open. But I just want us all to be in the know and on a similar page.
If I may jump in also, I was approached by Molly Hicken asking that the EDA consider joining the water board, and I expressed to her that that didn't make sense because by the time the actual connections would be in place, we wouldn't be the owner. So you'd functionally be joining a water board that you were never actually practically a member of. And she seemed to understand that. Hopefully I didn't, go past my authority here, but I said I would not be advising the EDA to do that under any circumstances, given that we're trying to sell out. But I've also had discussions with the county administrator and others expressing that same caution. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Commissioner.
Okay, I'm glad you're aware of it, and I just wanted to make sure everyone was.
Yeah,
Not looking to stop anything here, but just want us all to be in the know.
Sure. Well, I was approached by Mike Larson some months ago on this very same topic and gave the very same answer for the very same reasons. I mean, it didn't make any sense. I didn't realize there was actually additional possible risk associated with it, but it just didn't make any sense that the choice.
So, Commissioner Mills, I'm maybe not understanding the connection with Grand Portage. Grand Portage is concerned about the increased use of the water, or somebody from Grand Portage was, or?
Yeah, we got an official, the county board got an official letter, with 4 requests to address what they believe is out of compliance. and potentially tree root violations, and so they asked us to go through those. The first was to have a conversation with Molly about what's the plan, because one of the stipulations with water district is to also serve residential, and so it's a larger hurdle, and there isn't necessarily a plan, there's an intent. Maybe there's a plan, I shouldn't say that, but it's further out. And so the concern from Grand Portage is that this district is operating within the treaty boundaries out of compliance, and either we need to change the law or get things in compliance. So not a problem for the EDA, but just wanted to make sure you're all aware of that conversation. I'm sure you'll hear more about it. And I think there can be a good solution, reasonable.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve 2026-26, approving a professional services agreement with Bar Engineering Company, water design, construction, and support services?
So move.
Is there a second? Support. Appreciate that. We'll do a roll call. Mills.
Aye.
Shackleton.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Barry. Aye. Eliason.
Aye.
And Clissold is also an aye, so 2026-26 carries. All right, move on to committee and commissioner reports. Just briefly on the golf course, as I mentioned in our earlier discussion, we now have a standing meeting with buyers council and management of the golf course each Thursday morning as we go from here to successful closing. And that closing date has been set as the 21st of August. And that should bring some smiles to faces, I think, that's good. So we'll continue to meet and work that forward. Next big step is kicking off the bid process, both for irrigation and septic. We now have a management team to do that. It'll be, as I mentioned, helpful, even if we start at a high level and get more granular in the coming days or weeks, a high-level timeline on when we expect the grant, or the bidding rather, to be in market, its duration, setting aside some time for review of what comes back and how it aligns with EDA meetings, whether we have a special meeting to approve a bid or whether it will align with an existing meeting.
Well, and I think, we're far enough out where, once you post, I think the statute is a minimum of 2 weeks. But best practice is about a month. If you can post for that long, then you can get your sealed bids and have a public meeting and crack the bids. Because we're so far out, we can probably just have it at a regular meeting and just align everything else to fit that. But if something were to come up, I presume it would not be, anybody would be opposed to us calling a special meeting if we properly posted it. Just either one.
Makes sense.
Yeah, whatever works. Good, thank you. Taconite Harbor. I'm sorry, any questions for me, Representative Sherry and Mark on the golf committee? Okay, Taconite Harbor. Lucas, do you want to take that one?
Did everybody sign thank you cards?
Yes.
That's in the room. Commissioner Eliason and Alex will both I'll need to catch you separately so you can sign the just thank you cards for everybody that served on the Taconite Harbor Advisory Committee, thanking them for their time and energy and effort that they put towards it. Other than that, we had a recap meeting, which I thought went well, discussion on what probable next steps would be, if any, and I believe it's fair to say that what came out of that was trying to put together a mosaic path towards getting together all of the stakeholders that we can into a room together at the state level, potentially all the way to the U.S. representative that we have for Minnesota, and everybody below that, so the regional, county, everybody, to try to see, okay, we've got the idea of a plan, we've got this vision that we came up with, now how do we find the resources and actually start and embark on the path to get there. However, what we realized as we were sitting talking in the room, and it was something that I reflected, it would have been so great if we could have gotten Stantec to include this in their scope of work, was an economic impact analysis. To basically say, if you did this, here's approximately ballpark what it would cost, but here's your probable net gain, both in terms of property tax, sales tax, lodging tax, but also just increased economic activity, in the county if you were to take on either of the two interventions that they proposed. With the caveat that if you did neither, here's what the actual kind of like losses would be on a relative basis, right? At least your opportunity cost. So we discussed that, and the committee asked me if I would reach out to at least to start with to U of M Extension to see if anybody would be interested, any of their economists there, in potentially doing an economic impact analysis using Stantec's plan and presentation and what they got for community feedback. I've reached out, we're kind of in the process with that. Unfortunately, I had just reached out to them to ask for a similar sort of thing for childcare, so we're working on it. But hopefully we can put together a plan, and if we need to, we can go out and find grant resources to commission one potentially. But that's, I think, where things stand. Commissioner Mills, do you have anything you want to add to that, or is that accurate to your recollection?
Yeah, I don't have anything I want to add. Siri, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, yes, I Siri, I forgot that you're on that part.
Okay. So some frustration around some of the outcomes and recognition that there's so much. It's like hardly a first stepping stone, but it's a stepping stone, so we'll step on it and try and keep going.
Good, thank you. Grant Review Committee, anything, we're kind of in an off period, I suppose. Grant Review, anything in that committee?
Applications come in for our September round. What's the deadline of that?
Well, we have the big, so is everything resolved in terms of the split, and are we?
Right, that would be next year.
2027?
Yeah, so then that would be a good update. So we have gotten no applicants yet for our September grant cycle. I've had 3 different businesses in the community reach out asking for more information. So I expect we will get applicants, we just don't have any yet. Middle of September, I can't remember what day, is the deadline. Happy to tell you, it's on the website. I guess I can pull it up here too.
Isn't it the first
Wednesday?
the first Friday of each month?
Yeah, so we're ways out, so
Yeah.
we'll look at it.
But Alex requested, and I'm more than happy to do that, asked me to put together a timeline for a series of meetings for the committee to meet and discuss potential revisions to the way that the grants are awarded and some of the stipulations and so on and so forth that I brought up at previous meetings. So I'm going to get that out to you guys shortly, but that's something that I think you'll work on. Hopefully, if you choose to adopt them, we have plenty of time to do so before the start of the next year's grant cycle. And the answer to that is September 2nd. It's the first Wednesday in September is when those are due.
Thank you. H, go ahead.
Well, I was, no, that's enough.
We had we approved the logo thing. Are we getting those out to people?
Oh, I haven't ordered them yet, but I will order them. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, and then we have the stipulation that people have to participate. We've had it now for a year. They have to participate in 1 and 5 year review of outcomes related to their funding. And we tried, to do an analysis last year and got very little responses. So it would be nice if we could initiate that process of communicating with people about, okay, this is your 1 year review and then getting that data in so we start building a database of actual outcomes from the perspective of the recipients.
Yeah, I'm happy to touch base with them. I also think, just as an aside, that might be a reasonable stipulation to add to eligibility for future awards. That if your business has not submitted those,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
that we would not
Sure.
award you another grant for your business until such time as you have.
Mhm.
So,
I was thinking about it, I guess, in terms of when we give them here, you're gonna display this, and you have to, reminder, you have to complete this other thing.
yeah, sorry, I slipped off my
That's
top
right.
of mind to order those logos. But yes, we have. It's a really nice. I can send it to everybody.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, just at your convenience. Okay. HR committee, I suspect that has been quiet. Okay. And finance, we've got an update from Mark this afternoon. It'll be a little quiet until the budget picks up some steam again. We made the submission, and we're awaiting timing on meetings and discussions.
How was the submission process?
How was it?
Seemed fine.
Good.
I mean, if Brady and Kristen and you guys are happy, then I guess must have been okay. It was not difficult on our end. We'll put it that way.
That's what I was wondering.
To process.
Still have the floor for the executive director report. Anything else you want to cover?
Sure. Just a couple of really quick things. The first one, Linda left. Start with, I was hoping that I would have her still here. I talked with Linda today after the Grand Marais Business Coalition meeting, and there are a lot of business owners, especially in the tourism industry right now, who are very negatively impacted by the wildfires and the risk and the smoke. The number that I heard today was that bookings are down for most people by about 30%, just in the last couple of weeks, and that a lot of those losses go all the way out to October. So there's a substantial amount of fear that this year is going to be a pretty loss-leading year for a lot of these businesses, especially those up near the top of the Gunflint Trail. So one of the things that I proposed in passing, or asked Linda as she's out there sort of meeting one-on-one with all of these businesses, is would she see value either jointly or separately with the EDA signing or drafting a letter to be sent to the governor's office as well as potentially to the state legislators requesting that some kind of aid be made available at the state level, if possible, to these businesses, to try to support them and help them through. And so I asked her if she thought there'd be value to that. She said yes, she did think so. So I thought I would bring it up to you all to get a sense for whether or not the EDA board felt like that would be a worthwhile use of your time and signatures to sign and say, we, the EDA board, would support any kind of aid being given to these stricken businesses in relation to the fires, basically.
Well, it's a small price to pay on our part. I guess my only caution would be that we coordinate and unify with other entities,
Well,
the county, so that we've got one plan that makes sense.
And that's fine. It's just that came up today. And this is, of course, a very new situation. I wasn't anticipating requesting the approval and signing of a letter until our August meeting anyway. But I wanted to sort of get a soft sense of whether or not that aligned with the wishes of the board before proceeding. But I can get back together with Linda and we can talk through it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from other commissioners. It'd be hard to argue against that, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also just wanted to point out, there's a meeting in Ely at Vermillion College on Friday, I believe at 11 a.m. But Senator Houschild and Roger Scrabble are hosting it to hear from community and leaders about these.
There's also a meeting in Lutzen tonight, right, at 7?
Yeah, that's a Lutzen Town Board meeting, and my understanding is there'll be a Forest Service update there, a NEMO update. it's gonna be kind of brief and then moving on to the town board meeting, so.
Okay.
But yes, there is.
It came up that would be open to everybody at the
Yep.
business coalition meeting, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, different focus for sure. So this one I nearly on Friday is specifically about the economic impacts.
So I think this makes sense, and just due to the fact that other industries have been subsidized by the government due to natural disasters or Mother Nature getting angry. I don't know why our main industry in Cook County should not be considered for that as well.
Yeah, agree.
Thank you.
But one other thing I wanted to share too is just where I learned of this meeting was just in another meeting, but then I saw a posting. Representative Scrabble did say that, you know, the situation is not new. Like, he had to deal with this last year and the year before, and so there has been help, financial help for other businesses that were impacted in similar ways, so. That was encouraging.
And yeah, I mean, on a broader level, and this is just me musing philosophical, I wonder if there isn't a way that we could set up an insurance policy for lost revenues related to wildfire, like at the state level. You know, if the state could set up an insurance fund for this, that businesses could opt into, and then if they had lost revenue, it could be paid back out of. But I don't know, that seems to me to be the only way that you could deal with this going forward, long term, especially if we do have climate change and this becomes a 1 out of every 5 year situation, which hopefully not, but anyway. So if you're all comfortable with that, then I will work with Linda and any other stakeholders who would be willing to draft a letter. And I don't know right now then whether or not it would make the most sense. I'll discuss with her, but I can keep everybody in the loop on whether the EDA would send its own letter or if we would jointly send a letter. I presume that this board is open to either possibility. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I prefer we send our own letter, but
Okay.
just because I think there'll be a lot of letters.
Sure.
Which will have
Well, I think it's the more the merrier, right? That helps putting a lot of paper in front of people. Okay, so that's good. Trying to remember what I had a meeting also with City, HRA, EDA to provisionally discuss submitting a small cities development grant. And so the high level, and it depends now on which parties are going to be a party. I believe that the EDA absolutely should be. So again, not asking for a vote, but just to have everybody sort of provisionally give me their sense for whether or not they want us to be involved in it, and then we can come back and actually vote on meat and potatoes of the thing. And I'm happy to tell you all about the program if you want to know. The way it works, small cities, it's grants that are passed through awards from the federal government that Minnesota DEED manages. Any like city under 50,000 people is eligible for up to $1.4 million of money with varying amounts of match that they need to come up with, local match. Where of that 1.4 million, 600,000 can go to any one use. And those uses that are available are commercial rehabilitation, residential like home rehabilitation, and public works infrastructure. So the city is interested, as I presume, because they want to go for wastewater. So they can get up to 600,000 for their wastewater, which I'm more than in favor of. The discussion that we're having with the HRA right now is I think the EDA should be involved insofar as it relates to commercial, right? That would be good. But the question is the HRA going to be involved for housing? My guess would be the best way to do this would be 600,000 for wastewater, 600,000 for housing, 200,000 the balance for commercial. And each of those projects can go up to $25,000. I should mention that. So any given house can get $25,000. They have to meet low, moderate income standards. So there's a process. It would be some work. All of that to say, the letter of intent will need to go to the state in about November. And the city and I and the HRA are going to have a meeting with the small cities deed representative on Friday to talk through all the specifics on local match. So that if we're all comfortable with it and confident with it, we'll come back and get our various boards' approvals to submit a letter of intent to apply in November. In January then, deed would come back and say whether or not they're going to invite you to submit a full application. And then you do a whole bunch of groundwork and get everybody signed up for it. And then April of next year is when this would happen. If you got your approval, that's. So does that all make sense? I just wanted to put that on your guys' radar. I have brought it up previously, both individually and I believe to the full board, that I felt like it was a very good idea. The city seems to be really engaged and wants it for their obvious need. And I believe that it would be a useful, thing for us to do for business owners who want to participate. And of course, for the HRA, that would be great for them too. So we'll see.
Kudos to you for raising awareness and lighting the match on this, so well done.
Yeah. Well, and in fact, it was funny. I brought it up to them and said, "Can we at least put this on the plan to do it for 2028?" And Mike with the city said, "Yeah, I'd like to do it, but I think we ought to try for 2027." Okay, that's good. Ambitious. Let's do it. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to mention on that. And I'm trying to remember if there was one more thing that I was going to bring up, but it's not coming to mind, so it couldn't be too important. Questions for me, I guess.
No, thank you, we'll appreciate it.
All right, that takes us to the end of the agenda, and we can adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn the July 21st, 2026 meeting at 5:11 p.m.?
Motion to adjourn.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, see everyone on August the 18th.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Commissioner Eliason.
No, I don't motion.